Katie Porter has unleashed the ire of the establishment, the Democratic establishment, for stating that the California Senate primary race was rigged against her by the ultra wealthy. Now, this was a story that we actually covered yesterday. There was a concerted effort to defeat her, and the way that they did so was through Adam Schiff propping up the Republican in that race. And then the other way in which it happened was the tech industry came in, crypto came in, and basically spent a ton of money to destroy her because she's one of the few Democrats in Congress who has basically said that the crypto industry needs some regulation. Crypto industry doesn't want regulation, so you can understand why they would spend a lot of money to destroy her. Now, with that said, Porter came in third in the race to fill Dianne Feinstein's seat in California, meaning that she did not end up qualifying for the general election. So Representative Adam Schiff came in first with 33% of the vote, and then the Republican that he propped up, Steve Garvey, came in second with 32% of the vote. So the general election will be between the two of them. Katie Porter only received 14% of the vote. Now, yesterday on Twitter, she writes that thank you to everyone who supported our campaign and voted to shake up the status quo in Washington. Because of you, we had the establishment running scared, withstanding 3-1 in TV spending and an onslaught of billionaires spending millions to rig the election. So the rig the election or rig this election is the part that definitely drew the ire of establishment Democrats, which we'll get to in just a moment. Porter also wrote that special interests, like politics as it is today, they want to keep it the way it is because they control the politicians. As we've seen in this campaign, they spend millions to defeat someone who will dilute their influence and disrupt the status quo. But take my word for it, I'll never stop fighting for you. Okay. So what Katie Porter is referring to is just this effort to destroy her because of what her message was. And the one debate that I watched of these different candidates, Katie Porter really did come out on top. She was the only one who had any specificity in that debate. She was clearly prepared. She talked about corruption and money in politics over and over again, which I think is an important message to spread because it's a virus that really has infected both political parties, which leads to a situation in which the politicians don't really listen to the concerns of their constituents. They're more persuaded and seduced by the money that's been given to them by their campaign donors. And so Porter is referring to the crypto industry super PAC Fairshake, which spent more than $10 million opposing Porter's campaign. Fairshake's top donors include the crypto exchange Coinbase, crypto firm Ripple Labs, venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz, and its founders, and the Winklevoss twins. Now, Fairshake has had over $73 million on hand to spend in the way that they spent in the Senate race. And so here's a blurb from Schiff's campaign website where it's clear that he is not interested in regulating crypto. California is on the forefront of new developments in technology, from Web3 and quantum computing to cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. We need to develop comprehensive regulatory frameworks to ensure that these companies and jobs stay here, meaning in California, and grow here, and that the United States remains the global leader in these important new technologies. So that, let me decode it for you. That means deregulation and tax breaks, which is what the crypto industry absolutely wants. Now let's just quickly go to the backlash, and then Cenk, I'll let you go off. So Porter has been widely criticized by liberals on social media and neocons ever since she posted what she posted on Twitter. But the most infuriating response actually came from the Fairshake PAC itself. They write, thank you, Katie Porter, for giving Fairshake credit for your loss, but don't forget to give some credit to Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler for their misinformed and misguided attempt to destroy a critical foundation of the innovation economy.
Hilarious.
And then you have CNN reporter Andy Kaczynski saying that she lost by 20 points, but is saying the election is rigged because she was outspent.
Yeah, it's not that hard to understand.
But there seems to be like that response, Cenk, seems to just be not only an acceptance of the corruption in our political system, but like an attempt to protect and defend it.
We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now. What Kaczynski is saying is, well, that's her fault for not being bribed more. if she was just more corrupt, she would have gotten more money and she would have finished better. And now she's complaining. Get better at bribery, Katie Porter.
That's so crazy.
Says a CNN reporter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we read you the exact quote there, and that's my interpretation. I hope it's not that complicated for you all. So because people like to pretend that they can't understand simple things. Okay, so let me explain simple things. And I write out a lot about this in my book, Justice is Coming. About 95% of the time, the person with more money wins a congressional race, whether it's the House or the Senate. Now, it doesn't matter if they're Republicans or Democrats, conservatives or liberals, nothing matters. Just whoever has more money wins 19 out of 20 races. So that means if you're a reporter, that you should talk about, hey, the one determinative factor is not their policies at all. At all, it's not even close. The determinative factor is who got bribed more. And if you think that it's like a great thing, oh, well, he took money from the drug companies and he took money from the insurance companies and from the banks and from the defense contractors and from AIPAC and from this kind of lobby and that lobby, and you think that's a good thing, well, I'd love for you to defend your position. So Andrew Kaczynski, tell us how wonderful money in politics is. And are you saying that it didn't affect the selection? You can't be saying that. I mean, it doesn't look like you're saying that. And you would be a lunatic to say that.
No, I mean, it seems like he's saying the money in politics did impact this race. And why is Katie Porter complaining?
Yeah, so
she didn't raise enough, she didn't get bribed enough. That's how it reads. Maybe he meant something completely different.
And by the way, we're fair. So Andrew, if you meant something else, explain what you meant. Because right now it looks like you're like, yes, corruption is awesome. Look at this sore loser, didn't get bribed enough. If you'd just taken more Raytheon money and helped them start more wars, you would have won. But instead you didn't, you were honest. Boo! Okay, so.
And by the way, remember, the reason why Adam Schiff propped up the Republican in the race is so the general will be between Schiff and Steve Garvey, and then he can fearmonger about how Steve Garvey voted for Trump and he's very dangerous and he doesn't value democracy and he's gonna dismantle democracy. That's it, one trick ponies. That's the problem with these Democrats, okay? He didn't want to run against Katie Porter because Katie Porter actually was prepared during that debate. And I just remember thinking to myself, man, she is trouncing everyone on that debate stage. Way easier to run against a Republican that you can fearmonger about, which is exactly what Adam Schiff is gonna do.
Yeah, and then they say absurd things like, well, no, she lost because of her ideas. Okay, if you say that, you literally know nothing about politics. Most people have no idea who these candidates are. Said they might have seen Adam Schiff in a congressional hearing because he was a part of the impeachment of Donald Trump, so they saw him on TV. They might have seen Katie Porter with a whiteboard. Do you think they know Barbara Lee's voting record? Are you crazy? Okay, no, most people have no idea. And where's the one place they get their idea? Two places. One is ads, and so if you buy more ads, you know, some of the ads against Katie Porter were ranked just false, not even close to true, okay? So they lie about who she is, so the people vote against her because they don't know who she is at all. They think she's a completely different person because they were lied to. And the other place they get their viewpoint is mainstream media. And mainstream media tells you Adam Schiff is an American hero. Totally. He was the one defender of us against Donald Trump. Adam Schiff is supported by Pelosi and all the establishment. But Pelosi also took $1 billion in corporate campaign contributions and is also deeply corrupt. How dare you, Nancy Pelosi is the greatest human being, master legislator. So when mainstream media says crap like this, gee, I wonder who has the advantage. So then now everybody else dogpiles and like, oh, Katie Porter's wrong for pointing out corruption. No, if you're pointing out corruption, you're pro-Trump. Lunatics, go ahead.
Final thing I'll say is, look, there's a problem in the Democratic Party in that it has absorbed never Trump neocons. And so that already crowded tent has become a little too crowded for my taste. So George Conway, well, who gives a damn what George Conway has to, like, why is George Conway involved in Democratic politics? He's a Republican, okay, he's a neocon. But he's been, enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's the mindset of the Democratic Party. So since George Conway despises Donald Trump, then he must be a good guy. He chimes in on all this and says, kudos and thanks to all the liberals and Democrats calling out Katie Porter for her language. What was her language?
Oh, she used the word rigged. Oh, how dare you, that's Trumpian. Wait, are you saying that the lobbyists and the donors don't control our politics, that they don't, in a sense, rig the results by funding one candidate over another with millions of dollars so that people are tricked by their false ads? Because only a lunatic who should be confined to a mental hospital would say that.
Oddly enough, I mean, they're proving Katie Porter's point. These are people who love the status quo. They love that corruption has been baked into our system as something that's totally legal and okay. Bribery is part of our political system. It just is now. And it's not
Except they don't call it bribery.
But that's what it is. That's what it is.
It's bribery, you morons. You call yourself reporters, and you can't tell what decides elections, and you can't tell that no one's voting on ideas, they're just voting on lies from ads. And you think that you know politics, and you think that these dogs, these politicians, don't do exactly as they're ordered by their donors? Okay, why don't you look it up? Why don't you prove me wrong? Because ask all the 100 other reporters who are like, how dare Katie Porter? How dare Katie Porter pointing out corruption? She's just like Trump. Well, look, guys, you guys are accidentally complimenting Trump when he doesn't deserve it at all. So prove me wrong and show me the number of votes that, for example, let's take Adam Schiff, who I think is a deeply corrupt corporate Democrat. Show me the number of votes where he has disagreed with his donors. My guess is you won't find, I don't know if you'll find any, but you're not gonna find more than half a dozen. And you'll find hundreds where he did exactly what his donors want. And you can't figure out the pattern. Gee, I wonder what's happening in politics. Is it the money from the donors, or are they having ideological debates? And Adam Schiff has won the battle of ideas. And Steve Garvey too? Even though he's a Republican in California, you don't think that was the ads? You think that people like Steve Garvey's idea? By the way, have you ever heard Steve Garvey speak?
Yes, I have, during that debate. Okay, please, if you're interested, I believe it was a local Fox News affiliate that had hosted that debate. There are no ideas being shared in that debate. It was one of the worst debates I've ever seen.
Other than Katie Porter pointing out accurately corruption.
Yes.
Steve Garvey can barely put together a sentence. He makes Trump look bright, okay? Steve Garvey is like a blither, and you think that guy won the battle of ideas in the state of California, and you think you're a reporter.